How are we doing, everyone? I'm Blogger the Hut, and this is every creature in The Mandalorian so far from seasons 1 to 3 and the book of Boba Fett. There's a lot of critters here, so let's just dive in. Kicking things off with the Ravenak. Really loved this monster. I knew there was going to be some big monster, you could tell from the start, but the fact that it was a big kind of walrus type thing when I was expecting some kind of lizardy thing was really cool and original, and just a great start to the series. Then we have the Gorvin Snoo. These little creatures on Arvala 7. I really like them. Like, they've got a bit of personality. They're kind of very inquisitive, but also very skittish, and just really added to the scene there with them quite happily following Mando along, but then scattering as soon as there's a sign of danger. And then we also had the comedy of the one that was a bit stupid and got in the way of IG-11. Next up is the Mudhorn. This was just a classic moment, and based on some kind of prehistoric creature whose name I can't pronounce, but just really cool classic design, and I love just the way it just smashes through Mando with its one huge horn. Just shrugs off everything that Mando throws at him, till Grogu intervenes with the Force. And then, of course, the detail of the egg, which is also covered in hair, and a delicacy for the Jawas. Then these frogs, which are just everywhere in this series. First see them on Arvala 7, when Grogu chomps one down there. And then there's a couple on Sorgan. I think they're officially known as Sorgan frogs, but that can't be a proper canon name. But yeah, just the details of them with their one central eye. And then yeah, just Grogu can't stop chomping them. But these kids are a little bit too freaked out by it. And then we do see them a bunch of other times. See them here on Ossus as well, where Grogu's supposed to be doing his Force training. There you can see the one eye in a bit more detail there, and a bit more detail of the body as Grogu tries to use the Force to float it to his mouth. And then we do see here with Luke that they're obviously quite populous on Ossus as he raises a bunch of them from the swamp there. And then the last planet we see them on is, of course, Navarro, with this little vignette at the ending of season 3. Then the Krill, we see these on Sorgan, these little shrimp-like creatures that are harvested by the locals there, and obviously this is the bright blue of these creatures is what's used to make that spotchka drink that's seen a lot in the series. Then this creature on Navarro is called a cartoon, kind of wildebeest-looking creature. Then we have these massive Reptavians on Navarro. Never really get a decent look at them, but they're clearly powerful, big enough to carry off a blurg on their own, as well as do some serious damage to the others. You can see there they've got those long necks and those eye stalks, but pretty powerful creatures. Then we have these little, again, they're called lava meerkats on StarWars.com, I think, but I'm not taking that as an official name. You can see obviously the Aqualish quite happy to eat them. Not my cup of tea, but anyway. And one of them here making friends with Cara Dune. Then we have these creatures, you only really see the eyes on them, but it's quite a nice creature that they only come out in the dark on this city planet. Then we have the Crate Dragon, and I like this opening detail there. You can see, before you actually see it on screen, you can see how it uses its sort of sonic scream to shift the sound so that it can make its way through, swimming with its legs that we never really see going under the surface, and then just for a second you see it burst to take out this poor bantha. Banthas seem pretty stupid in this series. They're quite oblivious to the fact that there's a massive crate dragon, and here it is coming out in all its glory from the cave. Now, before you smart people get on me, yes, I do know that the crate dragon has technically appeared before in A New Hope, but it was only a skeleton that we saw for about 3 seconds, so I am counting this in the video, and I don't care, because this is just awesome. Just the massive scale of this thing that we've only had hints at before. I know we've seen it in EU sources, like, I guess most notably Knights of the Old Republic, but I really like this interpretation of the dragon, just massive dangerous beast, and this details like it's able to spit this acid which just annihilates the folks trying to take it down, and the fact that it shrugs off these explosive attacks. And there it can just burst through rock there. I'm going to assume that it's acid that it helps it sort of chew through the rock. Here we just get a sense close up to the head of just how huge it is, with the kind of the only weak spot being near its eyes there, as Din and Cobb try to distract it from taking out the others. And just, yeah, just an awesome scene. I could just watch this whole scene all day. but obviously finally able to take it down by getting it to swallow a explosive-laden bantha. And then, of course, the detail of them harvesting the massive pearl from it, and again, that's a throwback to the expanded universe. Then from the sands of Tatooine to the ice of Maldo Crace, we have the ice spiders. I think they're called knobby white ice spiders in reference to the concept from The Empire Strikes Back for a Dagobah creature that was unused. But nice detail here of poor little Grogu deciding to help himself to a snack and then awakening all these spiders of all shapes and sizes. We see them all pouring in as they get gradually bigger and bigger and bigger until this huge, colossal mother spider appears and starts going on the rampage. We get to see some cool details of it, like the snapping teeth there and the eyes which go all around its body. They use their webs to move around. Then the way it shoots the webs out of the mouth, I thought that was a nice little detail. Not just these ones there are able to, the bigger ones able to shoot the webs to pin Mando temporarily to the Razor Crest. They just climb over each other to try and get in. And then the huge one just swoops in, just won't die. You see there the details of the eyes as it's looking at them, and the teeth as it's trying to claw its way through the cockpit until it's finally taken down by the X-Wings. Then we have this little creature in the soup, stuck on Grogu's face. And then we have the Mammacore. We don't get to see much on this creature. Another octopi type thing on Trask. It kind of reminded me of the droid Vufi Ra from Legends in the overall shape, but that's probably just a coincidence. But fun little details of the face, especially these compound eyes as it looks into Grogu before Mando catches it. Ends up being another snack. Then we have these tall-legged creatures on Corvus. Only sort of see them in the background. I think this might have been an unused concept from the sequel trilogy, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm sure someone can correct me. We see a few of them there deep in the background, then slightly closer look up at them. Then we have these little blue butterflies. You can see a couple of them in the background here. Probably insignificant, but there are a couple of comics which use blue butterflies in connection to the Force, so there may be some significance there. Then this beast on Tatooine, as it's being uncovered by this unfortunate Rodian here, hides in the sand waiting for prey to come up at it, probably hunting banthas and things like that. Just the way it just emerges from the sand is just really, really awesome with these 4 arms as it just trashes this poor guy. And then it takes out the Massif as well. It's trying to get onto it with the multiple limbs coming into play. This creature is obviously a nod to sort of Ray Harryhausen, and a few times it felt a bit too Harryhausen to me, not quite Star Wars. It just felt like it was too much of a nod to those classic stop motion films, but still a very cool design overall. I like the way that it can shift between bipedal and moving on 4 legs as it does here. Pretty scary face. Then we have the poor little creature being used as a mop by this hut. A little white mammal thing, just having the awful position of soaking up his sweat, desperately trying to get away. Probably one of the worst jobs anything has in Star Wars. And, well, another awful job goes to this little lizard here, whose job it is to go up people's nose, but I don't know, maybe the lizard gets something out of it as it causes the hallucinogenic, and I assume that it gets out okay. Then we have the Womp Rat, which of course was mentioned in A New Hope, but really cool to see it on screen. Then a Wart Rooster here crowing away. And then this creature here on Ossus, totally goofy with Luke using it as a stepping stone. Then we have these dung worms that were given to Grogu to eat. Typically disgusting looking creature that makes part of Grogu's diet. Moving on to Season 3, we have this creature on what is absolutely the worst planet you could possibly choose to live on. This huge, I think it's called a dinosaur turtle in the production notes, just huge monster thing with huge jaws and its impenetrable shell that just tears into the Mandalorians. Even though they plant their explosive on its back and just let him rip, just does absolutely nothing, and the beast just keeps on going. This was just an awesome sort of start to the series. I'm guessing it's becoming a tradition that each first episode has to have a massive monster in it, and you know what? I'm all for it. Just constantly shrugging off all their blaster fire until Din swoops in with the N1 and the proton torpedo. And then we see that there's more of them on the series as one takes out one of those huge flying creatures as well. Then we have this little birdie on Navarro, and another kind of colourful bird here on the IG-11 statue and another one here. We also see one on Plaisir 15. Then this little monster on Mandalore jumping out of the sewers, bat creature. Then this creature that absolutely blew my mind, the Mythosaur. I never thought we would see this in live action, and it was just such an awesome moment as she drove past that. I was just going nuts at this scene, and we get to see a slightly clearer look at it at the end. Then this little dinosaur looking creature with the frilled neck, and these parasite type things on Coruscant. We see a few of them dotted around the remains of these Star Destroyers, possibly some kind of Minocky type things feeding on the power cables maybe. Then these cute little crabs again on the monster planet. Nice little sequence with them moving around as Grogu's keeping an eye on them, probably trying to figure out whether he can eat them or not. But just, yeah, just an adorable little scene as they move around. And then you can see as he picks them up, the sort of crab details there, but in a sort of octagonal type shape, I guess. And then we just, yeah, see them all kind of scurrying away as soon as they realise they're safe from Grogu. I like the mishmash of their shells as well. Kind of suggests that they're picking up shells rather than growing them. And a huge monster bird, because we needed more monsters on that planet, as if that planet wasn't scary enough, but really cool sequence as we see them chasing down. And then we see the babies here, these critters, and then the mum just flies up. Pretty gross for Ragnar here, as he's clearly been kept in the gullet for some time as she coughs up the poor little Mandalorian for her babies. Obviously keeping them alive for, I guess, about a day at least. But yeah, it's just some cool sequences as the creature's flying away with its prey, shrugging off most of their small arms fire until they eventually manage to convince it to let everyone go. Crashes into the sea. And then we see that the Mandalorians have taken on the babies, and I can't wait to see the payoff of this. I assume we're going to get Mandalorians riding into battle on 3 fully grown ones of these monsters in the future, and I can't wait for that. Then we just have a nice little fish. I'm guessing this is some kind of Quarren delicacy from Mon Cala being fed to the captain here. But that was a cool little detail with the submerged captain's chair on the ship. Bunch of creatures here on Plaisir 15. So many in this shot. We have on the left looks like a wart rooster. On the right we have what looks like a scurrier that's been recoloured a bit. Then this creature floating around in that cage. You can see this purple giraffe looking thing in the background. Then these pillbugs, millipede type creatures that get used for sport in a very kind of Alice in Wonderland type sequence. A few other ones, we've got sort of your typical flying manta ray, and then a bunch of birds that I can hardly make out. Lastly, we have the Trinitor. Got to be honest, wasn't a fan of this one. I just felt it was unnecessary because it caused confusion because I thought it was a mythosaur bursting through from the surface, but then it's just another giant massive creature. Cool though, but it didn't really serve much purpose in the series. But so many awesome creatures in The Mandalorian so far. I've been absolutely loving it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to like and subscribe, go ahead. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and may the Force be with you.